Welcome to Engaging Families in a Socially Distanced World, Strategies to Build Strong Partnerships. This is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. I've been getting emails and discussions. I know some are going to join us live and way more are going to be watching the YouTube video. So if you're watching the YouTube video, I want you to look right underneath the video. You may see a button that says show more, but in the description for the video will be the link to the resources that she's going to give us today. And no, you do not get a certificate for watching it. You have to be live to get the certificate, but you do get the knowledge. So congratulations. And you see the 2 Twitter handles on the screen. Go ahead and follow those and click subscribe on the YouTube channel. All right, my name is Dr. Desiree Alexander. I am your host for today. I am the founder, CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting, and that is who is hosting this session. These are all of the bazillion ways that you can get to me, but as long as you can get to educatoralexander.com, you can get to me. So I want to go through a couple of more webinars and events that we have coming up. Next weekend, we have inclusive collections. So talking about serving populations who are underserved. And this is a session that is focused on library collections, but honestly, anyone who just wants to be a little bit more inclusive, this is going to be a really, really hot and great conversation. Then we have the last one, the Mastering Mindfulness series, Zen Within Workshop. Make sure you wear some comfy clothes for that one, because we're going to be doing some movement on May 15th. And then we have TGIF, thank Google is free. Jim is going to come on back and join us on May 22nd. And then last but not least, every weekend in May, you have Jamming with Jamboard. So many of us love Jamboard and we want to know more about just kind of what we can do with it. That's when you want to come and jam with Amanda. Then, of course, we have webinars all throughout the summer, Amplifying Thinking Routines in June. We have a Leadership Academy for everybody who is interested in being an educational leader, or if you are an educational leader, completely free. Register for that. We have virtual Camp Apple. All over the nation last year, people attended camp with Camp Apple, completely free, a whole bunch of games and color wars. You can win so many prizes, and of course, professional development. We have Sarah coming back. Now, last summer, she did Google Tools level 1 with a whole bunch of Google Tools, and now she's leveling up. So this is for the people, you've already been using it. I need to up my game with using Google. Register for those. Then I am going to be speaking at ISTE. Yay, ISTE. It is virtual this year, so those are the sessions. Again, it's on that website. Inclusion Tech Hacks in July, Creating Your Digital Library with Nancy Joe coming on back on July 17th. We have the original 24-hour virtual free summer conference at Change Global is coming on back. Now, with that one, you also can apply to present and to sponsor. So look into that before all of that goes away. And then you have Financial Literacy for Educators in July. Can't wait for that one. And then Back to School with Bunksy in August. And then we're going to wrap up in October with Infusing Digital Reading and Writing Tools in the Remote, Blended, and Face-to-Face Classroom. That's just the last one we have scheduled for now, but I'm already in talks with people to get some more planned. Then I will be at TCCA in person in Houston, Texas. We think in person, we hope in person, we're crossing our fingers in person. So we shall see. That's completely free and you can register now. So, woo, that's a lot. But guess what? You didn't come to hear me talk. So we're going to go ahead and get started with talking about engaging our families.
Good morning, everyone. I am Becky Dukes, and I am a district administrator in charge of federal and accountability programs for a school district in South Carolina. And I'm also the owner of a company called Schoolhouse Mentoring. And I'm so excited to be here with you today to share my journey with helping change on a dime this year how we are working and engaging with our families in the school district. So I hope that you have grab you a beverage to sip on while I'm talking, and that you have your notebook and your pen ready so that you can take notes. And I'm going to get started. So what can you expect in the next hour? We're going to do some interactive. It's an interactive session. We're going to take away some fun things for you to take back to your schools and districts. We're going to talk about strategies and best practices for building those family school partnerships. We're going to do some demonstrations of engaging parent activities that you can use with your parents, whether it's virtual or in person. And then I'm going to do a little short, quick overview of a parent partnership that I've worked with to help bring all this together. So what now? In the face of COVID-19 and virtual school and hybrid school, and now finally some schools are coming back in person, we had a big problem last summer that we had to address, and that was, how do we connect and engage with our families in this time of transition and change? So we had to think about, how does this look? How do we make it work for our families? How do we make it work for our schools? So for such a time as this, family engagement was really, really more important than it's ever been. So schools needed us more than ever before. Our families needed us more than ever before. Families were depending on us to help them rise to the incredible task that was at hand. We were facing the unknown, and families were worried. So it was really important that we stay connected to our families. So all the districts across the country, all teachers across the country have stepped up to face this challenge head on in just incredible ways. So I'm going to read out a couple things, and I want you to raise your hand if you've done this in the past year and trying to work with your parents. So have you given out your personal cell phone number to a parent? Raise your hand. Okay, nobody's done that. All right. Have you posted on your personal Facebook pages offering tutoring to parents or their children with subjects they don't understand?
We have had some people give out their personal cell phone numbers. They're putting it in the chat.
Yeah.
And we have had people that have done the second thing too.
Oh, yes. Have you had to make multiple phone calls to parents to try to check in on children, and when you tried to call the parent, the number you had last week was not working anymore? Has that happened to you?
We definitely have some yeses and hands up.
Yes. Have you tried to open up a parent resource center in one of your schools or in your district, offering one-on-one help to parents so that they can learn how to use the technology that we had to push out to families this past year, teaching them how to use tablets or how to use their Chromebooks or those kind of things with parents? Yes, we had to do that. So how many of you, your schools or districts have delivered food boxes to parents, to parent communities, or sponsored drive-bys where parents could come by and pick up boxes of food? Yes, all of those things we've done, and those are all things across the country that schools and districts have had to do to engage our families in ways we've never had to do before. So you're all heroes and parent champions. We've heard some incredible stories of the amazing work that districts are doing. I've talked to many of my counterparts in other school districts in other states across the country, and it has just been amazing, the work that has been done to help parents. So let's take a poll. So, how has your district offered family engagement meetings or workshops during the pandemic? So, if you have done them in person, can you raise your hand if y'all have done in-person workshops or meetings for parents? Most of our schools are not doing that. So, how many of you have done them virtually?
Yeah, we have some no's in the chat that they have not done in person, but we have some hands up and some everything in my district has been online.
Everything's been online. And how has anybody just not done any kind of workshops for parents because of the pandemic? Because I know that's been the case also. They just didn't know how to do that, weren't sure how to do it. So this is why it's so important. So districts have goals for family engagement, and that's part, especially if you're a Title I school district, that is a really important part of the goals for the district, is to make sure that you have family engagement goals and activities set up for your families. And these are typical goals right here: to increase effective family engagement, to advance parent leadership and contribution, to build on strengths and expand the capacity of parents, professionals, and to teachers and students, and to develop and sustain strong family-school partnerships. Those are great goals, but how do we get there? So the importance of the family role is 3 prongs: academic, social, and for emotional development. And everybody agrees with that. And the United States Department of Education has set that those 3 pillars for us. And so as we go through, we want to look at how do we do that. And Dr. Karen Mapp, senior researcher and at Harvard Graduate School of Education, has done extensive work and extensive research on how to engage families and build that capacity. She started out with one framework that focused on the challenge and the opportunities and conditions that are in place, moving into the policy and program goals, and then ultimately to family and staff capacity outcomes, going from ineffective family-school partnerships and moving through this framework to become effective school-family partnerships. And a couple of years back, she revised this dual capacity building framework and created this second one, where we look from the left to the right. We start with the challenge. There are challenges to the educators in the system, and there are challenges for the parents. So the educators' challenges center around they haven't been exposed to strong examples of family engagement. They haven't received the right kind of training, or minimal, if any, training on how to engage with parents. We just have teachers come to school and start working, and nobody ever talks to them about what are the strategies and skills you need to have in order to be to work effectively with your parents. They may not see partnership as something that's important, and they may have developed deficit mindsets instead of growth mindsets. And so with parents and families, the challenges are they haven't been exposed to the same thing, to get strong examples of family engagement. They've had negative past experiences in school. That is a critical issue. So many of our families and parents, school wasn't a great place for them. And so they bring that into their parenting. They may not feel invited to be a contributor in their child's school. They don't know how to interact with the school. They don't know how to be a part of their children's education. And then lastly, they may feel disrespected and unheard and unvalued at the school. So those are the challenges. So what we have to have in place with any parent program, engagement program, are the conditions, the policies and program goals that will eventually lead to the capacity outcome. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is how do we build that capacity for families. So when we look at ineffective family school partnerships, what we often think of is schools or districts that just provide services. They may have a parent liaison, or they may have a resource room that they've spent a lot of money on buying parent pamphlets and books that they can share with their parents, with the parents. They may have a parent night once a year. But those types of just providing services don't build effective family school partnerships. We've got to look at how do we move to building capacity for those partnerships. So these are the things we want to have. These are the key challenges. You have that no strong examples of family engagement, minimal training. They don't see this as essential or important, and they have that deficit mindset. So we have no strong examples of family engagement with our families, those negative past experiences. They don't feel invited to contribute, and they feel that disrespect and being unheard. So with effective family partnership outcomes, we want to have families engaged in multiple diverse roles. We want them to be co-creators. We want them to help us create the parent events and parent activities. We want them to be part supporters. We want to be encouragers, being monitors, advocates, and models of effective parent engagement. So the traditional model was that one and done model. You had a trainer. Lots of school districts hired parent trainers. Then the parents came and they got the training, and then that was it. There was nothing else more to it. They came in, they sat and got whatever they gave them, and there was no leadership development. There was no sustainability to whatever they were giving the parent, and so it didn't result in parents feeling connected and a part of their child's school. So we wanted to look at, and that was how parenting had been approached in my school district when I took on the position that I have now 4 years ago. We would have a parent night. A school would have a donuts for dads. They would have a grits for grands. There were these just little pop-up one-time things that didn't result in anything changing between the parent and the school and how they were interacting with each other. So I said, the first year I was in this role, I said, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to have these parent nights. So I started scheduling these parent nights and ordering food and getting prizes and having a speaker, and nobody would show up. Nobody would show up. Maybe one or two parents. And I said, oh gosh, we've got to do something different. This is not how parent engagement is supposed to be. So I started looking at what are different ways to do parenting. So I looked at this plant and grow model where you start building the capacity of families, where family engagement is a shared responsibility between the families, the schools, and the community, and pulling all that together to help improve student learning and achievement. So with the plant and grow model, you have parents as partners, you have engagement through empowerment, it becomes credible and sustainable. They have all the families that participate have a shared experience, and then they become experts also. And this also builds diverse leadership teams in your school district, across your schools, and it really creates true partnerships. So we all desire more families, not just the same few. And y'all know, if you worked in education for any length of time, you may have a small group of parents who do everything. They volunteer. They're in the PTA. They are in the booster club. They help the band. They do all the things. Same few parents. Then you want parents that have diverse backgrounds and cultures to come together. And then you want them to be engaged in their child's education. And you want to have those strong partnerships, but you don't know how. So that capacity building is the key component. So it's no longer, you'll notice that with the United States Department of Education, they no longer call it parent involvement. It's now parent-family engagement. This, even the change in the terminology, really makes you see that it's about getting the whole family involved. And so the capacity building is the goal, and that now is the requirement in Title I. So we're going to do that 4 ways. Number 1 is you got to build on the parent's strengths. So the first thing that we did was we identified some parents, asked for volunteers, parent volunteers, at one of our schools. We started with one school at a time, and we trained those parents. They got in-depth training to help them become the leaders. So in that sense, we were building on parents' strengths and helping them become leaders in the parent community. So parents were invited as contributors. We also did personal invitations, and we'll give examples of that. Parent input, it was valued from the beginning, and we started really focusing in on building valuable parent qualities in our parents. So when we made the pivot to virtual meetings, we knew that we had to reach parents in different ways than we had in the past. So, so one of the things we put into place was, one best practice is letting them know that, space is limited and it's an honor to be invited. And we did that by taking our core group of parent leaders, and each of them made a list of people that they were going to personally invite to our meeting, to our training, to our workshops, to any kind of activity that we scheduled virtually throughout the school year. And I'm going to give some examples of those types of virtual events. So by doing that personal invitation, it really makes parents more likely to participate. You'll see the breakdown here. Research shows that you have a 75% success rate when you do personal invitations by phone or inviting parents face-to-face. Well, we couldn't invite them face-to-face, but we did personal invitations by phone. So there's only a 3% success rate when you send flyers to the whole school or send automated messages. You still want to do those things, send those automated messages, but what we just did was we followed up with that personal phone call. So, and we even trained our parents on how to do the invitation. We didn't just take it for granted that they knew how to approach their friends, because some of them were, they were shy. They weren't comfortable going out and doing that. So we actually did role playing and practiced doing the personal invitation, and helped them become more confident in doing that. And we also have done some creative ways. We've done evites, where we can track that. One service that does that is paperless post. That's just an example of one that is pretty popular with folks, and it helps you track your invitations. Here's an example of a personalized invitation with a little gift. They put little flowers, silk flowers on the invitation, a little cute little note that you've been picked to join our parent leaders, and we call them parent leaders. All of our parents that participate in our programs in our schools, we call them parent leaders. You can also use apps like Class Dojo or Remind to send little mini videos with a little personalized message if you can't reach them by phone. Here's an example of one of those invitations.
Good evening, wonderful parents. This is Katie Harry, your family liaison over at Parker Elementary School. Parenting Partners workshops start tomorrow, and our team is so excited to have you there. Be sure you have your Parenting Partners workbook ready to go and that Zoom link handy. And feel free to join about 30 minutes early. We will be there to welcome you all. Good evening, wonderful parents.
Okay, so that's just an example. And that's a really great new feature also that you're going to find is being able to do those little 10 or 15 second video invitations are really powerful. Parents are identified by their strengths as contributors. So when we wrote down for their schools, we identified parenting qualities that we wanted to help foster in our schools, and found some parents who already exhibited some of those characteristics, and then developed those parents into the leaders for the program, for our programs. Our parents host the workshops, not school employees. So that makes a huge difference. When the parents are in charge of the program, it gives them ownership, and it really helps make other parents want to come, because it's not the school telling them what to do in a workshop, a sit and get workshop. The second thing is growing that capacity to partner in student success. So one of the big things that we do in our program is to help those parents do those parent roles, those parent leadership roles. And that really has helped. At each school, at each of the schools now, we have parents who are helping get the word out, lead the workshops virtually, and help get other parents on board to help. So that is really important. So we do some examples of some of the activities that we do with parents on the virtual workshops. So here's an example of one. We ask the question, what are some of your dreams and goals for your children? And ask them to share in the chat. So parents do that. So write down, if you have children, write down a dream or goal that you have for your children in the chat.
We have to be successful leaders in the community.
Okay. So we do activities like that where we get them to share what their dreams and goals are for their children. Here's a skit. And when we're doing the virtual workshops, this is exactly how we do it with the parents. So the parents, we where we would normally, if we were in person, we would have the parents acting out the skits and playing the different roles. Whereas when they're virtual, we play the videos and then have a conversation afterwards. Okay? So here's an example. And you'll notice that the signs that the parents had on were in Spanish. So we offer our workshops. We have Spanish-speaking parent leaders, and then we have English-speaking parent leaders, so that we can offer our workshops to both groups of parents. And so you saw that little activity. You saw where the young person was in the middle, and then the people around, the parents around that person, each had on a sign that was a different challenge that young people face. And so they had their piece of paper, and they were just throwing that at the young person. And so we talk now about how do you think that young person felt? Do you think she felt protected? So we have a little conversation. If we were doing the workshop, we would share that in chat. How do you think the young person felt? So share with us now. Do you think she felt protected? Yes or no? So then you go to the next part of the activity, and here's the second part. So when we surround the child with all of these wonderful strategies to help protect them, then those other bad things that are out there can't get to the child. So that's just an example of how we use the videos on a Zoom call when we're doing the virtual workshops to impart some of the skills that we're teaching parents. So by coming together with the school and the community and the parents, we're able to protect and support our children. So then we want to grow capacity to partner in the student success by giving parents tools and resources, and we do that in the workshops. Modeling good parenting skills like listening, clear expectations, how to deal with conflict, how to use affirmation and encouragement, because we're teaching parents leadership skills so that they can better lead their family. And we do it in the virtual environment. Here's another skit. We do the paper heart skit. About round words that wound the hearts of our children. And what we do is the parents have a list of these things that to say to children that are negative, and each parent takes a turn saying what's on there, the one that they've been assigned. So if I said, I told you to stop right now, you drive me nuts, you're such a brat, then the next person would say, why can't you be more like your sister? And we do that going around. And as they say the things on the piece of paper, the parent is playing the part of the child, tears off a piece of the paper hard and throws it down. And then we change it and we share with our parents 101 positive, powerful words. And so we change those parents around to thinking positively and building up their child's heart, not tearing it down. And so we share the affirmations and we practice doing this because, y'all, parents don't always know how to be parents. And this is how we teach them. And here's the second part of the skit. Take the heart back together. So these are just examples of activities that we do as part of the program. The third part is, and we do these all virtually. So the third part is developing parent leadership capacity. And we do that by building on from one level to the next. We have several different programs that build on each one builds on the next one to continue to provide that leadership in our parents. So we start out with our basic parent partners workshop, and that's a 6-week workshop where that meets 1 hour a week. We do it virtually on Zoom. We had to make a decision at the beginning on what platform to use because our schools were using Microsoft Teams to deliver instruction to students. But we looked at it and we felt that Zoom was much more friendly for parents. So we went to the Zoom format. And so that has been very successful for us. So we start out with those workshops for 6 weeks. At the end of that 6-week period, the parents become graduates, and we go have a big ceremony. I'll show you a little bit more about that. But through the course, what we have found through the course of the 6-week workshop, where we start with 1 or 2 parent leaders in each workshop, from that core group of parents that we went through the 3-day training, the parents that participate in the workshop, they start developing that leadership capacity, and we're able to identify more parents to become leaders and go through that training. So it just replicates itself, and we have seen that we can start breaking off where we may have had a small group of 10 parents the first time we did the workshop. The next time we did it, we had 25. And then by doing some very strategic partnerships with outside community groups, we were able to bring even more parents. We partnered with some of our local churches, and the parents in those churches decided to join us virtually. And the other thing we did was our local county First Steps office that works with parents of very young children. We partnered with them also, and they started having one of their mandatory trainings for their parents. They started counting our workshops as those mandatory trainings for their clients, for those First Step parents. So that was another technique that we used in developing those family partnerships that we can continue to grow on virtually this year. So those are just a few tips about how to use those outside agencies to help build your parent program. So we partnered with a particular company, but there are so many out there. There's tons of parenting companies out there that have great programs. And I just want to make this clear. I'm not pushing or selling a program. I'm just sharing with you the program that we used because that we found to work for us. And what this program does is it builds, because they have different programs. So as I said, we started out with a 6-week basic parent partners program. Then led to we're doing right now the 3-week family meals challenge, and that's a lot of fun, and I'll show you a little bit more about that right now. Our parents are loving that. And then they also, for your parents who become leaders and go through the leadership training, they have 2 1-hour Zoom trainings a month to continue to build the level of leadership in your parents who are conducting and running the workshop. So that's truly important. And of course, they record them, so if parents working, they can watch them later. That has been that's something that they're doing that's new. So if you are trying to implement a parenting program, think about how you can continue once you have trained your parent leaders. How can you continue to support them as they grow in their role as a parent community member with your school partnership? So just keep that in mind when you're planning that they're going to need some constant support, whether it's through training that you're doing personally with your parent leaders or whether you're working with an outside vendor.
Educators understand the many concerns that must be addressed for young people to achieve their goals, from early literacy to reading proficiency, to good nutrition and healthy lifestyles, to managing technology and addiction prevention. Every aspect of their lives presents opportunities and challenges that you and your staff are helping them navigate. And the reality is, you can't be there every step of the way to help guide their choices. But what if families had the power to tackle these issues right at their fingertips? A simple nudge is all it takes to unlock a powerful catalyst for success. Together, families can become an unstoppable force as they make healthy and positive choices to avoid pitfalls and setbacks. The Family Meals Challenge is that simple nudge. Thousands of families have already taken the challenge, resulting in improvement in early learning, grades in school, and health outcomes. The Family Meals Challenge workshops are easy to roll out, and before you know it, your families will be moving in the right direction. Are you ready to set things in motion with the challenge?
So that's a little bit about the Family Meals Challenge. And like I said, we just love it. This is my favorite workshop that we do during the year. And like I said, it's only 3 weeks, and it really is amazing. We focus on how to manage technology with your children and teens. We have so we put together a family media plan of how to deal with that. We work with them on how to increase school success and addiction prevention. We introduce our parents to games. We work with them on understanding nutrition, and we also help them with planning meals so that they can take back that family meal time and start enjoying that time together. the research shows that when families eat meals together, 3 or more meals together a week, there are 40% increase. Was a 40% increase in A's and B's in school. So it seems like a simple solution, but it's a powerful solution. So we love this challenge. And the materials is workbooks for parents in Spanish and in English. There's also games and materials that we share with them. And we have the live, you can do them live at school. We are doing it right now online. And it's the same content. And like I said, our families love it. You're developing that leadership capacity, because as the parents become graduates of the programs that we're doing, we're seeing those parents step up and become part of their school councils, PTAs, serving on different leadership capacities in the school. So that is something we have seen multiply fourfold. And we have graduates of the program, and a lot of them want to become family leaders too. So the fourth thing is increasing the visibility of the parent partnerships. We honor our parents' contributions. We celebrate them. We have graduation ceremony. We did it online. We also recognized our parents who graduated at our monthly community meeting with the school, with all the schools in the community, had them join us via Zoom, and we spotlighted all of our parents who graduated. So that was huge, because lots of times parents don't get recognized. And so this was a big deal. That was one thing when we were working on our strategic plan this spring. One of the comments that our stakeholders made was that they wanted to see even more of that, more examples of us recognizing our parents, not just the students. It boosted our parents' visibility as leaders through our social media and the things that we did, and honoring them. I can't wait till we can go back in person, but we did it virtually. One thing we did was all the parents who participated in all the workshops, their names went into a drawing at the end at graduation, and we gave away Instant Pot and a $25 gift certificate. So that they were so excited about that. And we're doing prizes weekly right now in the Family Meals Challenge. For every parent who brings a friend, they get just a little tiny prize. And then we've been giving away like placemats, and we're giving away for the grand prize at graduation. We're giving a 4-piece place setting of dishes with matching placemats and all as part of the Family Meals Challenge to encourage that. So there's a lot. So that's how we've done our virtual graduations, doing lawn signs. So this is what a virtual graduation looks like. Everybody on Zoom, and the thing I love about doing the workshops on Zoom is they're in the comfort of their own homes. And parents are more likely to open up and talk to you about things that are going on in their lives and with their children when they are in the comfort of their own homes. It's so different because you're on their turf. They're not on your turf. So it's really, I think the Zoom program and the Zoom workshops have brought out more conversation and deeper connections. Our parents have really connected with each other and formed a bond with each other through this process. Another example, one school did a drive-by graduation for the parents, where the parents from the program came by and everybody cheered for them. And then we've also seen them we do yard signs for the kids. We haven't done yard signs for our parents, but that's another idea. So just focus on the 4 ways of building that capacity, building on parent strengths, growing capacity, developing parent leadership capacity, increasing the visibility, letting people know that these are your parent leaders in your school. That helps build your parent engagement program. These are some of the benefits, is that the teachers become more inviting and welcoming, and we are able to honor all families and their cultures and what they have to offer to our schools. And then we have family outcomes, where parents are empowered to become leaders in their child's education. So that's really important.
Family engagement has always been critical to student success, but now, in times of crisis, it is essential. Though the challenges of developing meaningful family partnerships are very real, there is no time to lose. Wouldn't it be great if there was a simple solution that could flip the script to rapidly get moving in the right direction?
So these are the key ingredients you want to have in your program. You want to have something set up where you train the trainers, train your parents to be your leaders in your program. You want to have your school facilitator teams that are made up of your school staff and include the parents and the parents who've been trained. And then you want to have engaging workshops for the family so that they are interactive, that they are weekly during the time frames that you set up. And the great thing about it is you can repeat these cycles as many times as you need to throughout the school year and build those relationships. This is just an example of the parenting partners workbook. There's options for the delivery. You can do it on in person, hopefully this fall. You can do them virtually, where you can have the parents who are facilitating at the school if they need to do that because they don't have internet connection, or they can do it remotely from their home. We've been doing them remotely from our homes, and it's just been working beautifully. So that's the example there. These are some of the best practices. Make the virtual experience fun and interactive for the parents. We do lots of icebreakers and games throughout the workshop where they can be involved and have fun. Just for example, what's your favorite snack to hide from your kids? And we have them share. They put it in the chat. And then when you have larger groups, what I recommend is if you have groups that are bigger than 10 parents, that you split up into smaller groups and use the breakout room feature, because that way they get to connect closer together in the smaller groups. We do hat day where everybody wears their favorite hat, and we take pictures of them on screen, and it's just fun. And then we do examples like the annotating the this where we can click on and put the little hearts so that we are able to have each parent participate by giving their input and using the tools in Zoom. That's fun. That's fun for them, and they feel important. And what we have, this is some of the results. Parents who participated in this program, 95% of them have read more with their children, because we do a survey at the end of the program. 95% read more with their children. 90% eat more than 2 meals as a family as a result. 96% of their parents start talking to their children more about what they're learning in school and about their child's goals. One of the things we have found, I work in a very high poverty area. one of the top 30 highest poverty communities in the country. Children come to school that have a huge deficit in language because they have not been talked to. So that is why it's so crucial that we teach parents these communication skills, because we have seen it. We've seen how it plays out in our school system. So that's really important. So you can do it either way, but we've been talking today about how it looks virtually. We use, like we said, we use Zoom, and we make it interactive and fun. These are some other ways that we engage virtual with our parents. And the picture I have up here, right here, is from Thursday night from my house. We were doing, I was participating in the Family Meals Workshop with our parents. But here's some other things we've done virtually this year to involve our parents. We had character book nights at the elementary school where people dressed up as a character and read a story on Zoom to families that joined from all across the district. We've had students participate in oratorical contests that went out to everybody in the district. We have our monthly community meetings. We have awards ceremonies, our parent conferences virtually. We've had literacy nights virtually. We've hosted all of our Title I annual parent meetings online. We've had honor society ceremonies, student-led programs, student presentations. We also use social media to connect with our families virtually. Our district has its own app. We are active on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So those are just some ways that we keep connecting with our families. So you've got this, schools, because you know now what to do. I'm hoping that as a result of this workshop today, you're feeling stronger about going out and forming these strategic partnerships that will help engage your parents. So in summary, it's all about relationships, building them, not doing one and done workshops, finding value in building that parent leadership role, and investing in strategies that go across multiple years and through multiple paths for your parents. Building key, these are your checklists, build key parent roles, use the best practices, those research outcome-based strategies. You want to be practical and relational. Develop your parent skills and capacity. That's to me, that is the most important outcome in this process. Valuing parent leadership and making this sustainable. I know if I leave my school district tomorrow, I have a core group of parents who will carry on this work whether I am there or not. And that is the power of this. If you are interested in contacting parenting partners, here's some information about how to contact them. If you'd like to contact me, I do other workshops for parents and for schools. I also do workshops for teachers on how to build their capacity, and I focus really on helping teachers find ways to have less stress and more joy in their school and home lives through the workshops that I do with them. In fact, I just finished a series of workshops with teachers and preparing students for state testing. Your gift in your is the PowerPoint that I did today, but also here's a guide that you can send home to parents. I know many of you are getting ready to start or have just started state testing, and so I did for you a little parent guide for helping their students have less anxiety around testing. I hope that you will share that with your schools, and that will help them as they move forward in the rest of the school year. So please feel free to follow me. I'm on social media at on Facebook, and Instagram is probably the best place to find me. At Schoolhouse Mentoring, I'm on there at look up Becky Dukes, Schoolhouse Mentoring, and you can get a link to some other free resources. So thanks so much for joining us today. And if you have any questions, do we have time for any questions?
Absolutely. I don't see any in the chat. I've been asking for them, but what I will do is also allow them to unmute themselves. So if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself at this time and ask your question.
The character book reading was really one of the highlights of the year, if you ask me. It was fabulous. And we did a series. They did them like every night for several nights, and it was just so much fun. The kids just loved it, and the parents did too.
So it doesn't look like we have any questions.
All right.
Becky, I just want to say thank you so much, because the comments, people are just agreeing with the things you were saying, and really, even I had some mind-blowing moments, like, you're on their turf, not your turf, that I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And just some of the stuff you said really.
It's giving the power to the parents. And that's when I changed that mindset, where when I first started doing this work with parents, I thought, oh, I've got to go and just do these things with them because I have to. But when I changed it around to how can I get parents to become the leaders and let those parents help other parents with the skills that they need to be better parents, that just changed everything. It really does.
Awesome.
And I really feel like actually going virtual has been a strength. It's made it a stronger program, not weaker. Because as I said, parents are so much more comfortable when they're coming to you from their living room. And they, their kids are in the background. We had parents doing homeschooling and doing all the things. They were much more likely to show up on Zoom than they were to get in their car and drive to the school or drive to a community center to come participate. So I think
so when things open back up, do you plan to keep doing Zoom sessions as well?
I think that we'll do both. I think that we'll offer it both ways. I think we'll do sessions virtually and in person, because actually I say that in response to my community, because our community is not ready to open up. They truly are not. We still have a great deal of students doing virtual school because their parents don't feel comfortable, because the transmission rate is still kind of high in that area, in that community of COVID. So we're just being very careful. But I do think that parents have seen how much fun it is to do it from home. So I think that has really been encouraging.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for all of this information.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.